The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Tuesday, the 24th day of January, 2023. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, and Lindo's. I'm Jamal Hartman. She's Sherry Vanderpool, and Tamara McHale will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break, brought to you by Peoples. Happy Tuesday, Sherry.
Happy Tuesday to you too, Jamal. How was your weekend? I didn't get to chat with you yesterday like that, surprisingly.
Thankfully.
Yes.
No, my weekend was great. Well, it was good. I mean, look, I know a lot of people expect me to be upset talking about Manchester United, but you know what? When you have no expectations, you have no expectations, you don't really take it on. But I did lose a $1 bet. My mother-in-law, she's an Arsenal fan, and so she bet me $1. And I'm happy to say that I paid my debt. And but I went to polo this weekend, so that made up for it. Went to polo. And
well, I did see those videos of Mr. Dapper or whatnot. But speaking of sports, we're going to move on from that. I am upset about Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, so you're like the one person in many that's upset because everybody's happy the Cowboys are going home except Cowboy fans.
That is awful. But yeah, I looked at it, I was like, they're losing.
I tell you what, the only time I can handle Stephen A. Smith is when the Cowboys lose. I tell you, that's the only.
I heard he had a whole lot to say. He annoys me on a good day, so I could just imagine.
Nah, he did some skits with Michael Irvin. He brought out his cowboy hat, but yeah, Cowboys,
Mr. Irvin.
For America's team, they certainly haven't done anything. I guess what's generation after millennials? Generation Z, is that Generation Z or whatever? I don't know. I can't keep up. But Generation Z, they have never seen the Cowboys make it to a championship game. That's crazy.
That is crazy when you put it in that kind of context.
Whatever, though. Whatever. Good morning to Karen Simmons. Good morning to Sister Sancha. And we're not talking to Maddox, his gunners all day. Look.
There's something else.
I'm beat him up. Anyway, greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome Zach Moniz of Lindo is on the show to discuss the rising cost of groceries in Bermuda. Maya did an awesome graph yesterday, just show eggs. I think eggs are a big conversation. Actually, I was shocked last week when people were on social media talking about, I was today years old, or I'm shocked I didn't know that Dunkley's eggs were imported. I remember Michael Dunkley saying some years ago, like, people think we milk the cows. We don't own cows like we, get our milk from other cows. It's just fascinating what people don't know about business. And it's not shaming anyone or faulting anyone, but
right.
It's like when people found out that maybe Barrett's ginger beer may have not been made in Bermuda and stuff like that. It's like starting a clothing company today. The clothes may say Bermuda, but where are they made? You look at it like that, right?
But we like to hold on to things and it be, we want to make it ours. You know what I mean? So I think that's where a lot of it comes from as well.
It's yours. It's yours. It has your name. It's like a car. You pay for it. Well, you put a down payment on it and pay on it. Yeah, you claim it, right?
Yeah.
The daily play is a remember when. So a little history question for Sister Sherry, and then I just want to remind people, if this is your first time tuning in, don't let it be your last. But this show is now available directly live on our website, thedailyhour.com. So you no longer need social media to tune into the Daily Hour. Just go to our website. All right. So while you're on the website, subscribe on our website and follow us on our social media channel so you can keep up to date all that's going on the show, and also find out what some of our partners are doing as well. But before we bring our guest on and we start talking about groceries in Bermuda, we have a question. We have a question. And that question is very simple this morning. Just last evening, it was shared, and Cordell Riley, he's does a lot of research in the tourism space, but he had shared something some months ago on social media about hotels in Europe who have pretty much replaced front desk people with machines. And last night in the TDH group, I had shared a post from Twitter. Some guy, Vegas hotel front desk agents are now disappearing. And I've said for ages, I go into the Target down the street there, about 2 minutes away, and 26 cash registers, maybe one open, the rest self checkout. I said I was in Vegas for a conference about 4 or 5 years ago, and I was at a bar, and I said, something tells me bartenders are going to be obsolete soon. And someone's like, no way. Bartenders are personable. You need them there. I'm like, my friend, technology is going to have you pressing a button. You want a whiskey sour? You press that button, give a little bit of whiskey in your glass, you put it under, then you go to the next one to mix it. Jobs are being replaced.
Yeah.
The reason I feel this conversation is of importance is because as I sent it yesterday, as I sent it to the TDH group, I said this to everyone. I said, and this, my friends, is why the promise of jobs for Bermudians with the reopening of Fairmont Southampton, if it ever happens, is but a pipe dream. Why do I say that? Because I guarantee you, those who keep saying jobs for Bermudians don't even understand the trends in the industry, right? That's number one. And number two is, if it's one thing a business is going to do, a business is not a charity. Let's be clear.
Mm-hmm.
A business is going to find a way to operate in a way where they can generate a profit. And so to do that, one of the things you have to do is monitor your overhead, right? So I hope that when they're spewing this job for Bermudians, they're taking into, a fact that, like, they're considering these kind of things, which I highly doubt they are, because one has to understand trends in industry. So, question of the morning: how should we respond to technology replacing jobs? What are your thoughts, audience? How can we respond to technology replacing jobs? Again, you see it in the hotel industry right now. Machines are replacing front desk people. Even you go to the urgent care in the U.S., you're doing you're on a computer with someone, which is still a human being, but it's still cutting out, and it could be someone elsewhere, right? So you're not even speaking in person with a person who's handling your insurance stuff nowadays, at least here in certain places in the U.S. What are your thoughts? How should we respond to technology replacing jobs?
Jamal, I saw this happening, I want to say in 2012. I went to Europe, and the first time I experienced self-check-in was at a hotel in Amsterdam. And I was like, what is this? So if it was starting in 2012, can you imagine the progression of where it is today? And we definitely should have been on board back then as to what the trend was, because now here we are. But how do we respond to it? We respond by pivoting and getting into technology in some kind of way, because if we're going to be replaced by these machines, somebody has to be behind the scenes and able to do some of these operations. Now, what that may look like and with the details behind that, I have no idea. But there needs to be a person behind some of these things, and how we need to respond to it. We need to respond quickly because it's here. If I saw it in 2012 and now we're in 2023, could you imagine the advances that have been put in place
Mm.
over these last 10, 11 years? Um, Bermuda's always kind of behind in these areas, but we have a blueprint of how it's showing and what the response is with persons out here in the United States, and we need to take heed to that.
Well, I think Craig Simmons said it best. If the cashier at the grocery store is talking about Bitcoin, you've probably already missed the boat. And I think in technology, it's really about, you said it, 2012 to now, that's 10 years ago, well, over 10 years ago now. Um, you know, we had enough time to prepare, right? Um,
Yeah,
I do agree that the best response to technology is to learn it, right? So when people say, um, you know, the creation of jobs, again, I use Steve, what's his name all the time. I forget his last name right now, but came to Bermuda, educator. He was a correspondent on
oh,
CNN, but he
didn't
said
see
it
that.
when he came to Bermuda. We need to prepare our children for jobs that don't yet exist. And this is another case of that, right? If you know that cashiers and front desk people are being replaced by technology, then you try to shift your education in terms of technology and coding and those careers that may exist. Question is, folks, we have it's not just cashiers, but we have front desk people. It's going to happen to others. We've seen it since the pandemic, even waiters and waitresses, right? And it happened before the pandemic. If you go to
Yeah,
certain restaurants, you're ordering on a what they call them, not an iPad, but a smart pad or whatever it's called, right?
or a QR code. You're
Yeah,
doing it yourself.
you're going on and you order, and then guess what happens? Someone brings you your food, right? So the technology is taken over, and we need to figure out how to best respond. How should we respond to technology replacing jobs? Traveling Trotty says technology is having and will continue to impact the travel industry. Not just,
Yeah,
but yes, not just the travel industry, but yes, indeed, it really is. And when technology enters the conversation, people feel like, oh, it's taking away jobs. No, it's not. It could be creating more jobs. I think we have a very negative view on it, but it can be creating. One thing
negative or scary.
whatever man makes, breaks. You know
Yeah.
what that means? Somebody needs to be available to fix it, right?
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah. And I'm saying negative or we're just scared.
Mm.
We're really scared of technology. It's like when you gave your parent a cell phone and they were just like, how do you use this thing? And now our generation of today, of course, definitely is able to use that technology quite easily. Now we're pivoting it into another state, and I'm scared of it. I can tell you that. And I feel like I have a little bit of technology.
Well, you're old. You're old. So I mean, we're old. Sorry, we're old.
Yeah, exactly, because
Yeah,
you're not far
yeah.
behind at
No,
all.
I'm far. I'm far. I shocked you as a teenager, man. I weren't even thought of. Anyway,
Okay, focus.
how should we respond? But no, honestly, we're joking. But the truth is, I always say, technology. Remember, I told you guys the story when I first moved to Alabama to school in 2001, and we went to Walmart, and they were before they used to take your card and swipe it for you, and that was the first time my nana, right, would she had to use the machine herself, and she was like, oh, what's with it? She was frustrated, right?
Yeah,
As we age, as we get older, some things technologically we will not want to adapt with, right? Again, right now we have an opportunity to prepare a generation for things differently. Are we going to do that? How should we respond to technology replacing jobs? What I will say is we shouldn't cry about it. We shouldn't be, oh, that's just going to get rid of jobs for people. No, the best response is to figure out what problems may come from this new technology and go
get on
find
board.
solutions. Sean DeShield says, adapt to technology changes or become obsolete. I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah,
It's that simple. Shikarana says, we can learn how to maintain the technology. Agreed. Agree. Again, I love this. I love this. These are solutions. These are solutions. But we have to change our mindset. I
Mhm.
think right now the mindset, and if you look at the post yesterday, we were talking about in our TDH group where these machines were replacing front desk people. Here's something someone said to me last night. We didn't even think about in the United States during and post pandemic. If we're post pandemic, hotels and many restaurants have had a tough time finding employees.
Correct.
Keep in mind, so this is not a response just to eliminate jobs. This is a response to stay in business. This is a response to say, you know what? Well, we can't find people. Well, let's go the technological road. Now, should those people return to their spaces and want jobs? Well, now they have to upskill and find a way to maintain the systems that replace them. But
Yeah.
we must not forget that some of these jobs, they just could not find humans to do them.
And so businesses needed to do what they had to do. Have you been to a hospital, Jamal, and seen a robot out here in the United States? I'm not sure in Bermuda if this is happening. And they're bringing medications or moving around the hospital. That is crazy to me. I've seen it.
I tell you, man, hey, I I I'll just remember urgent care, like just the way everything was. I'm just like, they told us all this. The only thing I didn't believe is they told me I was told to watch the Jetsons when I was young because be flying cars. I still ain't done with that. The flying cars and all that. But nah,
They
they
park themselves though.
yeah.
We're getting there.
Um, how should we respond to technology replacing jobs, folks? Trouble and Trotty says, I have seen a robot doorman. Robot
Wow.
doorman. Interesting.
Yeah, but traveling Trotty, can you let us know where that is? Because she travels all over the
Yeah.
world. Be interesting to know what country that was in.
Or planet, the way she travels.
Yeah.
Sean the Shield says many cruise ships now have robot bartenders.
Really?
See? I haven't traveled. I mean, I shouldn't say that because privilege wise, I have traveled during the pandemic. Like I've been to different islands, I should say. It's what happens when you have a spouse that travels. You just take it along. But I haven't really traveled beyond, the hemisphere in a while since the pandemic.
Mhm.
So I haven't really experienced anything, that's not norm to me. I guess
Right.
in a while, but I'm interested. Traveling Trotty says technology will create jobs, i.e., we will need more technically savvy employees. Thank you. So I wanted someone to challenge the language we were using this morning. I wanted someone to do that. Why? Because the word replacing shouldn't be there, in my opinion.
Mm.
The word replacing, jobs aren't being replaced if there are new opportunities being created. And I think the narrative, and you all have got to hold us accountable sometimes with the way we ask the questions, because the way the question goes is, how should we respond to technology replacing jobs? No. How should we respond to technology creating new
Creating.
opportunities? You see what I did there? Look,
And depends perception.
it is. It also, but again, I feel we have a responsibility. Sherry, you and I done this show for over a year before we met in person. Because she couldn't get enough of me when we met in person. She wants to see me every day, folks. Right? But I say that because technology has given us the opportunity. Tamara's in Jamaica. Have you
Yeah.
met Tamara before? Right?
No.
So technology is giving us opportunities. To me, some people may say, oh, well, they're just entering a space and there's already talk shows in Bermuda in a space. There ain't no talk show allowing people to engage with Zach asking questions like they have the opportunity this morning.
And how did you meet Tamara? I keep messing.
On LinkedIn. Yeah, on LinkedIn.
Technology.
Yeah, technology. So, folks, again, technology, there's opportunities in technology. It's not always a bad thing. It's not doomsday, but we have to figure out how we're going to respond to technology. It's not a bad thing. Stop looking at it bad. I always say, when I go to Target, right, and I'm thinking, only one of 26 And then you go to self checkout, and one of the self checkouts are down, right? Well, somebody's got to come fix one of the self checkout.
Absolutely.
Somebody has to, be there to monitor it to make sure people are not. I was speaking to someone yesterday. They said
Stealing.
they went to a grocery store. I think it might have been in the UK or somewhere. They went to a grocery store. They didn't scan anything. They just put their bag in a basket, and it scanned everything for them. Talk about
Well,
technology.
and I believe one of the other like warehouse stores allows you to scan as you go, as you shop, and
Mm,
then pay for it on your phone, and then you're able to leave that way.
interesting. Let's go through these final few, Sherry. How should we respond to technology replacing jobs? Traveling Trotty and Michael Daniels for you.
Technology will create new jobs, i.e., we'll need more technically savvy
Oh, we
employees.
read that one. Okay.
Yeah. Individuals need to define their skill sets and then use that same technology to monetize their skills. Yeah,
Agree.
absolutely.
Bingo. And Traveling Trotty answering your question saying California. So,
California. I definitely thought Europe somewhere. Wow.
interesting, interesting. And then Sam Cat Place says, I had a robot waitress, but it was still guided by a hostess. Yeah, you still need people. You just gotta be technically savvy. Sean DeShield says many hotels now have keyless room entry, so guests use their smartphones to gain access to their rooms while completely bypassing the front desk. Yeah, yeah. I couldn't tell you the last time I've checked out with a person. Honestly, I just usually leave. I don't check out anymore. So I can definitely relate to that. Folks, another thing, and I don't know if you all are fans of this, but you saw in San Francisco, they had the robot police something. I think it was San Francisco.
Police dogs. Police
Yeah,
dogs.
yeah. But hey, folks, there's opportunities. Let's bring Tamara Michaela. I wonder how Tamara feels about it. But I think this is a great conversation because I think we feel down about so many things, and I see opportunity in it, Sherry. I see
Yeah.
opportunity rather than replacement, and I hope that people find some sort of hope and opportunity in a conversation like this. Let's bring Tamara in. I don't know. Jamaica has a lot of hotels. So let's see if they've gone that route.
Good morning, everybody.
Well, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous.
Yeah. Well, so you heard the conversation,
I
technology.
did.
What are your thoughts? Any opinion on that?
I mean, I certainly agree with Jamil in the sense that we should embrace the technology and use it. Some of the comments just now to use it to our advantage and monetize our skill sets around it.
Mhm.
Because the truth is, it's here to stay. So everything that we have achieved as a society and as a world so far has been with technology. So I think we should capitalize on it and use it to our advantage.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
I will say though, I'm just thinking about it. The a robot police dog. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure a robot police dog and because we talked about real dogs last week, right? We talked about real dogs, and once I heard whatever and a little, I just feel
Is
different.
Is that the robot police dog just barking?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's something about I don't know. Yeah, because yeah. And anyway, yeah. So technology, I just feel like we have to change our mindset when it comes to
Yeah.
technology and look at see the opportunities rather than the setbacks. So yeah,
Agreed.
what's
Agreed.
it looking like in the news?
All right. Good morning again, everyone. This is the Daily Hour News Break for today, Tuesday, January 24th, brought to you by the People's Pharmacy. So, in the news today, business leaders in Bermuda have warned that proposed radical changes to the payroll tax regime could be bad for Bermuda's economic recovery and may deter foreign investment. According to the Royal Gazette, John Huff, chief executive of the Association of Bermuda Insurers and Reinsurers, says that such moves could also lead to firms cutting staff numbers on the island. And the intervention comes in the wake of Premier David Burr's announcement in December's pre budget report that payroll tax rates could go up for the higher paid to fund cuts for those at the lower end of the pay scale. Ahead of the looming February 17 budget statement, It is understood that business interests on the island are urging the premier, who is also the finance minister, to pause bringing in such measures.
So hold on, let me bring that back up. That's so 96,000 to 235, and then there's a gap between 35 and 45. But anyway,
Yep.
that's a big gap. Like that's
Yeah.
I don't know. This just looking at it on the surface, again, I haven't read the pre-budget, but this looks stupid. I'm sorry, maybe that's the wrong choice of words, but look, I'm not the most business savvy, but anyone who understands a bit of business or finance can look at that, and that's a big gap. So
Yeah.
if you're telling me that a person who's getting paid 97,000 gets taxed the same as a person that gets paid 200,000 plus, that's just a big gap. And I don't know, maybe I need to do some research to figure out how this has helped any economy looking at things like this, because it ain't helped the you. Well, you know what? Anyway, sorry, Tamara. What else you got for us in the news?
All right, well, still in Bermuda, Minister of Health Kim Wilson has announced that she's pleased that Bermuda has met its coronavirus vaccination goal to have a third of the nation's eligible population receiving their second and third booster. She said, quote, "This is good news as vaccinations are the best way to fight the coronavirus, protect our community, and save lives," end quote.
One thing, they are staying on that hill, and they ain't coming off that hill at all. Boy.
At all, Jamal. At all.
And it's one thing, you know what? They're consistent with it. So I'll leave it at that. They're consistent.
And on a lighter note for Bermudans, if you love music, specifically reggae music, there's an upcoming Bob Marley tribute concert. According to Burn News, Veterans in Action is getting set to present a Bob Marley tribute concert on Saturday, February 4, and the concert will be held at the BAA Gymnasium. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. With the doors opening at 8 p.m. The show will feature music by Ras Shiloh, Ras Solomon, Troy Anthony, and more.
All right.
Nice.
I can smell that. Yeah, I can smell that. I'm sorry. I just smells like it's going to be a great time.
But you're so naughty. And to some regional news, other regional news, to the home of Bob Marley, my lovely island, Jamaica. Unfortunately, though, we have made international news for an incident I recently reported on regarding an alleged almost $3 billion Jamaican dollar fraud scheme where allegedly an athletic Olympic icon Usain Bolt was allegedly defrauded about 12 million US dollars, or almost 2 billion Jamaican dollars. Now, the magnitude of the incident has led the finance minister to host a press conference yesterday where he announced a number of changes to the financial sector, but he also noted that this incident, the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, has been called in to assist local authorities. Now, here's a quick snippet of what the finance minister, Dr. Nigel Clark, had to say.
The Honorable Prime Minister has said there will be full transparency in this matter. No stone will be left unturned. The investigative authorities have full operational independence and will pursue the facts wherever they may lead. They will unearth exactly how funds were allegedly stolen, who benefited from such theft, and who organized and collaborated in this. The probe will also seek to identify whether assets have been acquired with the proceeds of this fraud, whether here in Jamaica or overseas. If and when such assets are identified, all legal steps will be taken to restrain these assets with intention of full forfeiture.
Yep. That's the finance minister there, that video courtesy of the Jamaica Observer newspaper.
Wow.
And yeah, so the FBI has been brought in. So hopefully it is resolved as soon as possible. And I'm going to wrap it up in Trinidad and Tobago, where the government is pressing ahead in its work to transition to a low carbon economy. So soon, a wind resource assessment will be conducted to identify potential sites for wind farm development in Trinidad and Tobago. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley made the revelation while delivering the keynote address on day one of the Trinidad and Tobago Energy Conference 2023, hosted by the Energy Chamber of Trinidad and Tobago.
All righty. And how's the weather looking today?
All right. Well, in Bermuda this morning, according to the Bermuda Weather Service, this morning should have some sunny periods, but there's the risk of rain or showers. But a cold front exits to the east with lingering cloud cover, strong winds, rain, and showers. And here in Jamaica, it's supposed to be partly cloudy across northeastern parishes, but otherwise mainly sunny, including right here in Kingston, Jamaica.
I was waiting for it. I was like,
I know.
the sun is coming.
She tries to make it sound like, it's a little bit of sun.
Yeah, it's like bright and sunny.
What you got for days of the year, Sherry? What you got for us?
I got a couple of things, so I'm going to try to do it quick. Ironically, we're talking about technology. Well, on this day, Macintosh computer in 1984 was the very first Macintosh computer to the predecessor of what today's Apple computers are now. It's also compliment day. So the power of a compliment is pretty remarkable, Jamal. Make sure that you pay compliments today. It's also International Day of Education, where we advocate for access to education. And finally, Just Do It Day. Inspire you to do things that you finally just get it done. And for those lobster lovers, it's Thermidor Day. I love a little Thermidor lobster.
It's a busy day. I'm going to choose one.
Give Sherry a compliment. She looks extra pretty today.
I gave her one earlier, didn't I?
No, everyone didn't hear.
Oh, okay.
So don't count.
I'll give it to you when we come back, because we got a birthday shout out when we come back. First, we got Zach Moniz coming up. Mara, thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
We're going to take a quick break. Do not go anywhere.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning like it's will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
All righty, welcome back to the big show. She's Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, also, if you don't know,
now you know.
Come on. We got to work on this rap thing. You no longer need social media to tune into Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. You can just go on our website, thedailyhour.com, and you can watch live. So I know, folks, I don't have social media. I don't go on Facebook. I don't know how to work YouTube. You could go on the Gazette, read the news. You could go on Burn News, read the news. You can now go on thedailyhour.com and just watch us. Just hit play. And you can watch Sherry get her questions wrong during the daily.
It probably will be definitely today.
Yeah. But let's give a big birthday shout out to Rosalind Famous, right? Rosalind Famous. She's always in the audience. Been a day one of the Daily Hour. Give Rosalind a big birthday shout out, folks. If you in the audience, just say Happy New Year, Rosalind. Just give a Happy New Year. Now, I'm not gonna do what I did to Sherry. I try to guess your age, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. All right,
Don't do that.
without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day. We've got Zach Moniz, who always is open to coming on and engaging with you, and we're going to get right to it. But so without further ado, let's bring in Zach from Lindo's. Let's give him a warm TDH welcome, folks.
Morning, guys. Hi, Terry. Hi, Jamal.
Morning.
Yeah, Jamal. How was your weekend?
So, Zach,
Oh, listen to that. That's a laugh.
How was your weekend? How was your weekend? I want to hear this. I had a good weekend. I'll tell you what. Even in spite of all the Liverpool losses this season, there's nothing better than a Man United loss.
You know,
He could not wait to come on, and he could not wait to come on to tell you this.
I
love it.
I'm just thinking back. I think every time he comes on, Man United have lost the weekend before. I'm thinking.
Yeah. You should plan this better.
We have to plan this better, Zach. I think you're not good for Manchester United season. I promise you. But
I think I'd like to come on every week at this point.
See how you are? See,
I love it.
You know, our friendship gets a little stained and strained during the season. So
indeed,
maybe summertime. But no, hey, I love our football band. Honestly, it's cool, and you know, you've got Phil, who's always on your side with his ridiculous Liverpool stuff as well. But Zach, look, man, there's a lot going on. People have a lot of opinions, a lot of conversations around groceries. Sherry's based in Georgia. I'm based in Florida. The rest of the team is in Bermuda. So, you know, we all have different perspectives based on it. But just speak to the audience right off the bat. What's the most challenging thing about the grocery business in Bermuda?
So the grocery business in Bermuda, or just the grocery business in general?
I want to touch in Bermuda, and then we can just go general. Yeah.
Okay. So in Bermuda, it is finding the multiple streams of supply that you need to maintain the shelf. It's a challenging job just trying to find the product to put on the shelf sometimes. And I think that is, it's not like in the US where you can just pick up the phone and say, hey, send me 10 cases. And then they send you over 10 cases, and maybe you don't like those 10 cases. You send them back and say, send me 10 more. In Bermuda, what comes in your container is what you got, and that's it. And you got to make do with it, right? Especially when you talk about the perishables and those products that are on the peripheral of the store, the produce department, the chicken, and all those things. If you don't get it, or if what you get is not good enough to put on the shelf, then you go without, and you lose that opportunity for sale at that point. And also the consumer may not understand that. So for example, this week and last week, you have one boat is on dry dock, the Thursday boat. So all of our fresh produce and all of our chicken and all of that stuff has to arrive on the Monday. And that has to take us through the next 7 days. And invariably, no matter how much you order and how much you try to get in and prepare yourself for that lack of that container that would come on the Thursday, you're always going to run out. So the question on Friday and Saturday at the end of this week and at the end of last week is always, why are the shelves so empty? And it's, you know, just a lack of knowledge on the part of the consumer that they didn't even know that there's another boat that didn't come. And those are some of that's some of the main challenges. It's just trying to maintain your supply. And we do that fairly well in Bermuda. It requires us to have a large back room. So if you went into a grocery store in the US, they don't have much warehouse space. They have central warehousing all over the country, which provides to the stores, and they walk in the front door and load the shelf right from the truck. In Bermuda, I got to carry inventory like nobody's business. And that is the challenge. And of course, what makes it difficult also is I only have 12,000 square feet. You walk into a Publix in Florida and you got 75,000 square feet. And that means you can spread your shelf space out. So, you know, for Coca-Cola, for example, you might have 10 facings. Well, I can only have 2 facings in Bermuda. So that means I got to have somebody refilling the shelf every couple of hours, because otherwise we would run right out. And that's, some people will come in the shop and say, how come you got all these merchandises on the floor when it's so busy like this? Well, if I didn't, there would be anything on the shelf, because I've got 12,000 square feet of space, and I've got the same product range that you would find in a Publix. And in order to keep that shelf full, I need the people there constantly coming behind the consumer and filling up that shelf behind them. It is challenging. Like, the grocery business is a tough business, that's for sure. The only business that I could think that would be tougher would be the restaurant business.
Interesting. And speaking of grocery business and restaurant business, because you have similar challenges in many respects. But Lindo's recently announced it was reducing the number of days for its 5% discounts, right? It's going to Tuesdays and Wednesdays, eliminating Thursdays. Just explain why Lindo's decided to keep multiple days instead of returning to one day, which it was previous to the pandemic.
Well, so the one day was actually quite a few years ago. So you've missed a couple of years in there. So pre-pandemic, we were 2 days. One day happened to be Tuesday was Seniors Day discount, and Wednesday was discount for everybody else. So we really have just kind of returned back to 2 days. The implementation of the 3 days was mainly because of the alphabet days during the pandemic. But since then, there's two things: the amount that we pay out in discounts over the 3 days, and the amount that we pay in fees right now to process credit cards is astronomical. And it's not sustainable to maintain those 3 days like that. So we've gone back to what we were, which is 2 days. Fine, fair enough. We did add everybody else to the Tuesday. So, look, it helps to spread out traffic between the 2 days, and it gives the consumer a couple of days to get in and get what they need at that discount price. And it's not like we're trying to squeeze everybody in the shop on a Wednesday like what used to happen before. So now you got 2 days. I think it's ample enough time for everybody to get in there and get what they need at the discount price if they want it. But yeah, you're right. It used to be 1 day, Jamal, but that was, I think we had gone to 2 days probably 5 or 6 years ago.
But it was seniors. It was seniors on the right.
Yeah. It was loosely seniors. It was loosely seniors.
And he's having a senior moment right now, forgetting that, because I remember Zach.
Well, you were a senior, so you would have benefited.
I saw this Cowboy fan punch the TV last night. And I think if you keep calling Sherry old, that might come right through the screen.
Zach, let me tell you, okay, you're playing it through my mind and all of that kind of stuff. So it's fine. I let him have his moments.
Wow.
But Zach, the public has been very vocal about the cost of groceries. In particular, eggs. Why has the cost of eggs increased? And do we expect them to go back down?
Yeah, they will go back down eventually. So eggs are perishable. Every perishable item is subject to supply and demand forces, right? So what is affecting supply right now of eggs? Bird flu. They've culled 58 million birds in the U.S. because of bird flu. That is a massive amount of available hen-laying birds, right? So anytime supply is affected in that way, the price is going to go up if demand stays the same. And in this case, of course, the demand for eggs is not going to change much. In fact, it's probably going to increase as the supply goes short. So if you have a short supply and an increase in demand, where's the price going to go? The price goes through the roof. And that's what we're seeing right now. And it is. I mean, I've never seen eggs at this price. It's nuts. But it's similarly what happened to the lettuce in December. People were in the shop taking pictures of $8 bat or $8 head of iceberg lettuce. And I agree, it's crazy. And we actually stopped bringing it in for a while because it's just, I mean, the price was astronomical. But what had happened was it got explained to us by the suppliers out there. They said, the previous year, the farmers lost their shirts on lettuce. So they planted a lot less this year. So again, anything that's going to affect the supply of that product is going to impact the price of that product. So if you have a surplus, the price is going to come down. If you have a shortfall, the price is going to go up, provided the demand stays roughly the same or increases. Of course, if demand falls and supply falls, then the price will probably fall and stay where it is. But yeah, it is that, any perishable item in the shop is directly impacted week after week by what the supply is doing. And we see that, every week. Produce and chicken and all those things that price fluctuates all year round.
Well, thanks for that, because you definitely bring clarity, and I hope that everyone who's tuned in understand that. What would you say to people who think grocery stores in Bermuda are just greedy for charging what they believe are high costs? And I think you kind of touched on that just now.
Yeah, those statements always hurt. And look, I'm not looking for a pity party or anything like that, but that's when you get called. I know what I do, right? And I know what I do is I try to be as fair as possible. And I can tell you right now, nobody is in the grocery business for fun. It's just not like that, right? It's a tough business. Like, I was on the phone at 2:30 in the morning the other night. Somebody sent me a message and said, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm at the shop because the alarm went off," right? So these are the kinds of things that people don't see that go into the challenges that we do face with the grocery industry. And I can tell you, the only way we make money in the grocery business is to be good at it. If I'm not good at it, that means I'm not providing what you want, and you do not come into my store to buy it. So I try to provide a place that is clean, friendly, and has the products on the shelf that you want. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but at times people look at people who are successful and say, well, that person must have done that because they're extra greedy. That's just not it. I'm just trying to get from A to B every day, and trying to maintain this store and provide for what, the products that you want. I think about times when we've had like Movenpick ice cream on the shelf that somebody asked for, right? It was over $30 a carton. The price is ridiculous, right? But somebody asked for it. So I am providing what somebody wanted. It's not really my job to provide you with what you need, even though there's lots of things in the store that you may need to be sustained. But what brings you into my store is by providing what you want and what you want to purchase. And that's what we do. That's what we try. That's how we stay in business.
I think Jamal had mentioned it before, and you as well. Like, you're not in a business not to turn a profit as well. And I think people need to still remember that that's not being greed, that's being in business at the same token. But what are some of the challenges that Lindo's encounters that the community would not necessarily be aware that impacts the cost of goods in Bermuda?
How many? I would say you may not be aware of how many things come out of a perishable container that actually go right into the trash. Because, you've got, I have to order them a week out. They go in the container. They spend 3 days in the container. And when they get here, invariably, there are a number of items in that container that are unsaleable. And it goes straight in the trash, and that's right off the bottom line. And that's not even, there's no opportunity sometimes to get a credit on that or anything. It's just the way it is. Sometimes you can get credit. It just depends on what the item is. And then I'll use strawberries, for example. Strawberries is very, and any berry is very susceptible to whatever is happening in the area that they're growing that product. So you could get a batch of strawberries that is just, it's just not great. And we get them here, and to find something to put on the shelf to sell requires somebody to stand there and go through 50 cases of strawberries to find 1 pint that he can then put on the shelf. And then we've had where you'll put at least 25 of that 50 cases in the trash. And people will go to the shelf and they'll look at the shelf and say, how can you put this on the shelf? Like, well, that is the best of what I could do. It was either that or nothing. And then sometimes when you don't have anything on the shelf, then it's like, can you believe it? I can't believe that you don't have strawberries this week. And it's like, well, you're not aware of what's happening around the world with the strawberry market at the time. I am, because I'm in the business of knowing that, and trying to convey that to the consumer can be really challenging sometimes, because they think everything should be pristine and available all the time, and it's just not the case. I think we're spoiled in this day and age. Like I can remember when I was a kid, the produce department on the shop floor, the selling space was very small. You had very limited items in that department because it was seasonal. It was what is available locally. And then you would supplement it with a few things that you could get imported. Iceberg lettuce being one of them. I don't recall a whole lot of potatoes being imported back then. It was all local. Carrots were local. And if they weren't available, they weren't on the shelf. And you didn't require such a big area to display produce because it really was just what you could get out of the farm. And now it's one of the biggest areas, the most challenging department in the store. And it seems like you have to have everything all the time. You got to have peaches and plums and nectarines, and anything that is seasonal doesn't make sense to anybody anymore. So, watermelons right now, very expensive. And people want to know, how come these are so expensive? Well, they're not in season. And that is challenging. Like that is difficult. And again, trying to convey that to the general public is difficult, because right now we're in that I see it, I want it, and I want it now kind of society, right? The microwave generation, get it ready for me immediately.
I actually thought about that because I was in the grocery store, produce section. I get berries pretty much every week, right? Blackberries just go off so fast. And I was like, why does it seem like fruits are available year round now? It was never like this before. And I thought it was just me. And then you realize, no, they're making stuff available, but if you look at the prices, they'll differ from when they're in season. So thank you for saying that, Zach.
We got hammered on oranges, for example, right?
Oh, really?
Just quickly, we got hammered on oranges in September. I can tell you, I can show you the graph. Every year, oranges in September go to over $2 each, and it's just because the crop in California is changing over. There's nothing coming out of California, and we got to go to South Africa and Australia to get oranges. If I got to go that far to get oranges, they're going to be more expensive than California. And that is, I remember seeing on Madge's List, somebody posted, I can't believe this. Look at this orange. It's over $2. Well, oranges in September have been over $2 for the last 25 years. So it's just one of those things.
Oh man!
Wow!
Madge's List, the place where you
it come down, right? That's what produce does. It goes up and down. So.
Let's go to the audience. If you have any questions or comments for Zach, we'll try to get through as many as possible. Traveling Charlie's asking why grocery store management did not apply the sugar tax directly to affected items instead of applying the sugar tax across the entire store.
Okay, let me try to understand the question. So why grocery store management did not apply the sugar tax directly to affected items? The sugar tax was not applied across the entire store. The problem is the tariffs and the items that fell within the tariff structure for the items that were considered to be sugar taxable were a vast array of products. So things like Coffee Mate, which you would not have considered to be a sugary drink is in fact a sugary drink. And things like granola bars, which are tariffed under 1704, which happens to be the same tariff that falls under candy, for example. So that we did not take the sugar tax and apply it all over the place. The sugar tax was applied to items that fall under the tariff that were deemed sugar taxable.
Interesting, and very interesting, and that's something that generally on the surface we wouldn't think of. Shikarina has another question. Is there a problem with shoplifting like there is in the U.S.?
Sure, sure there is. However, look, the thing about shoplifters is this: if you're the type of person that's going to steal, you're going to steal no matter what, right? And certainly there are times when people are stealing because they are hungry. And then there are other times when people are stealing just because the opportunity is there to do so. And we do our best to make sure we try to discern what is what. Like in the past, I've seen some things where, kids are in the shop and they're stealing bread. Now, no child steals bread, right? No child steals bread unless they are hungry. And then we reach out to the proper authorities and make sure that they go, that's not in my book the same theft as a child stealing a candy, right? And not that I have all kinds of children stealing from me. I'm just trying to point out the differences between the kinds of theft that we see. And then, of course, you see the dependency thefts. So you see the alcohol thefts and things like that. But what we do is you try to set a precedent. So you put in place all of the things that you need to deter that from happening. And when you do notice something going on, I try to put myself in a position that the person then knows that they're being watched very carefully and they choose a different path. Because let me tell you, there's nothing worse than stopping a shoplifter and going through that whole experience. It is a day ruiner. It's no fun for anybody involved. It's not for the guy that was shoplifting or the woman who was shoplifting, not for management, not for police, not for any of us. I absolutely hate that part of the job. Unfortunately, it is something that does happen.
Yeah. One last question before you head out. Joanne Trott's asking, why not source in-season items, fruits, and vegetables from our local farmers?
We do all the time. When it's available from the local farmers, it's on our shelf, without a doubt. Now, sometimes the local farmers will hold that product for their weekend cart. It just depends. But if it's available, we have it on the shelf. That is a no-brainer. So, and then in fact, it's government enforceable, right? So if a local farmer deems that they have enough to supply the island, they go to Tommy Sinclair at Marketing Center at the Department of Natural Resources, and they have that item put on embargo. Now, what the public needs to try to come to grips with is sometimes local produce is not going to look as pretty as some of the imported produce. There's nothing wrong with local produce. In fact, if it was me, I'm buying local produce over anything else that I've got on the shelf any day of the week. But I'm willing to accept a little bit of rust on a tomato, a little bit of imperfection in whatever it is that they've got, because by the time you get it in your mouth, it's not going to taste. It's going to taste better than what you think you might see. So, and there are things like people will buy a head of lettuce that's local, and they find a snail in it. People forget this stuff's grown in the ground, right? So it's one of those things where it's in nature. That's the way it's going, and you will find things like that in local produce. But and that's to answer the question, whatever is available locally, we have on the shelf, provided the farmer is willing to sell it to us.
Wash your fruit and vegetables. Wash them.
Indeed.
Well, this is the thing, right? When you look at the snail, right? I said to the customer, I said, well, at least the snail's alive, right? So that, right? This is the thing. what locally, it's better because they do not have to apply as much chemicals and pesticides that they do in the U.S., right? The number of applications of that stuff here is far less than what they have to apply in the U.S. So, and yeah,
Well,
I'll take local produce all day long.
Yeah, Roslyn Famous just appreciates the insights because it took her living on a smaller island with one grocery store and less than 4,000 population. Like, it's a hard balance to strike. And I always speak about volume on this show, how it makes such a difference. But Zach, we definitely, I mean, if you had time, we always want to have you on. But please know, I mean, if we had it all, it'd be once a month. Except, well, we can't do that because football season.
Well, how often? Yeah. How often do you want to lose?
Yeah, but no, honestly, man,
come on all the time, Van Zach.
See how you are, but no, we appreciate it, and thank you for being so honest, open, and willing to keep us up to date on what's going on. This is a conversation that's ongoing because every couple weeks people just feel like something's going up or they can't afford that, and as you mentioned on Magis and the internet, people have a lot to say. In my opinion, the best way to combat information, and not just combat it, but through education, I think we can satisfy people's not necessarily their budgets or make them feel better, but at least they have a better understanding of what's going on. So I appreciate you making the time to come on, and please let us know sometime. Hey, Jamal, I want to come on and just update people on what's going on, because people really truly do appreciate you engaging and sharing the information that you have with them.
Well, I will never pass up the opportunity to come on after United loses on the weekend. Let's put it that way.
I love it.
So I'm going to talk to Sean. Zach, have a good day, man. Nice to have you.
Bye, Zach.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Right, folks. If you appreciated that, thanks again to Zach. If you appreciated that conversation, found it helpful, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break, come back, wrap it up. But I definitely learned a lot today, and I appreciate the information and the conversation. When we come back, I'll just share with you why I found that so helpful. Yeah, I'm about to go get my, I got from my doctor last year, like when fruits and vegetables are in season. Yes. And I have to find that list because that will help you as well, folks. Actually, should I ask Zach if they have something, but I think that's what we can do for ourselves. Find out what's in season. There's got to be something on the internet. We'll be right back. Stick with us.
A lot happens around your home. That is why at One Communications, we have introduced affordable security and video monitoring, because everyone should be able to afford to protect their family. Anytime, from anywhere, One Home Security keeps you connected and puts security in your hands with an easy-to-use smartphone app to control everything. Home security is important to keep you and your family safe. Motion-activated cameras around your home and security monitoring within create a complete security system providing protection both inside and outside your home. Professional monitoring means that there's someone on call with 24/7 protection to notify the authorities and help keep you and your loved ones safe. We are dedicated to whole home protection with indoor and outdoor cameras, smart door locks, motion sensors, and more, so you'll always be connected to what matters most. With professional installation, no upfront hardware fees, and low monthly rates, because keeping your family safe should be affordable for everyone. Total home video monitoring and security. There's no better way to protect your home than with One Home Security.
All right, it's time for well, first off, thanks again to Zach Moniz for coming on from Lindo's and having the conversation with us today. Thanks again to One Communications, People's Pharmacy Medicals, and Lindo's for ensuring we can have these conversations. Time for the Daily Play, brought to you by by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Sherry, are you ready?
Sure, Jamal.
All right, it's a remember when, my sister. All right, according to Curb, a law passed to make it illegal for restaurants to deny service to Black people in Bermuda was passed in what year?
Um,
19. All right, let me ask it again. A law passed to make it illegal for restaurants to deny service to Black people in Bermuda in what year?
1964. Am I close? Am I close, Jamal? 1963? 62? Process of elimination. Yes.
I mean, that's because Mark had it there. So, I mean, yeah, you know.
Well, I don't know if Mark was right.
You got copied, Jesus, brother Mark. You got it before. Not 50.
I didn't.
You were all close. You were all close. It's crazy how that was not long ago, right? That
At all.
long ago. And I know some young people might be saying that, yes, no, 62 is not that long ago, because chances are your parents were living then, no matter the age right now. Sherry, final thoughts. Technology, jobs, and then obviously the grocery conversation with Zach.
In regards to technology, I love, I believe, was it Traveling Trotty, had stated, how can we be more creative with technology, and what way to respond to it is being more creative and getting on the other side and pivoting on how we can assist technology and not be so afraid of it, or feel like that it's a negative thing that's happening. It's going to happen, people. Get on board. As far as Zach, I love conversations with Zach in regards to the groceries, what the groceries business is like. It is very eye-opening to the things that are going on. And just a reminder of what it takes to run a grocery business and what that looks like. So I really appreciate Zach and his transparency that a lot of groups don't have.
Yeah, well, I'll say this much. I've learned so much from actually owning a real business. And sometimes it takes owning a real business to understand how a business actually operates. We all have opinions of what we think of businesses, and businesses taking advantage. I'd say it all the time. A business is not a charity. Lindo's is not a charity. Marketplace is not a charity. Arnold's, Miles, they're not charities. I know that we think that all businesses equate to greed. I don't believe in exploitation. I don't believe that people should be using others to become billionaires and exploiting people and getting rich. I don't, but I do understand the challenges of running a business. And at the end of the day, no one is in business just to exist. So I understand challenges. Sherry, you shop in Georgia, I shop in Florida. The prices of things are insane compared to what I was paying when I first moved to Florida. I'm not even talking about my time in the US. I did my own price checks when I was in Bermuda. I saw the difference between the same turkey, $20 in the US and $77 in Bermuda. But then I took into account everything it takes to be there. I'm not dismissing anyone else's opinion. I'm simply saying white businesses, black businesses, truthfully, face the same challenge in a place like Bermuda. The cost of doing business is just different. Let me go backward real quickly to technology and jobs. I don't look at technology as replacing jobs. I look at technology as creating opportunities for us to enter new spaces. My hope is that others can do the same. Sherry, you got some daily inspiration for us?
I do. If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, guess what? Change your attitude. And that's from Maya Angelou.
All right, go ahead. No, I like that one. I like that one. I heard it before. I like it. I like it. I like it. She got the daily play. She cheated, but
I did not cheat. I started at 1964 and I said, am I close?
Yeah, whatever. Thanks again to our partners, Medical Hours, One Communications, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Sherry Vanderpool. I'm Jamal Hartman, my friends. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We're out.